Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we are discussing a topic that touches the lives of millions of families across the world, yet it is something people are often terrified to talk about. We are talking about the health of your brain and the very early warning signs of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Your brain is the control center of your entire life. It holds your most precious memories, it shapes your personality, and it allows you to connect with the people you love. But as we get older, many people begin to experience moments of forgetfulness. You might forget where you parked your car at the grocery store or struggle to remember the name of an actor in a movie. These small memory blips are a completely normal part of the aging process. However, there is a very clear line between normal aging and the early stages of cognitive decline. Dementia is not just a single disease. It is a broad term used to describe a severe decline in mental ability that interferes with your daily life. The most common cause is Alzheimer's disease, which physical changes in the brain trigger years before any severe symptoms appear. Today, I am going to walk you through the 7 early warning signs of dementia that you should never ignore. I will explain exactly what is happening in the brain so you can clearly understand the difference between normal aging and a medical red flag. Let us start with the first major warning sign, which is not just misplacing items, but putting them in highly unusual places. We all lose our car keys from time to time or misplace our reading glasses. Usually, when a healthy brain forgets where something is, you can retrace your steps logically. You might think about where you last sat down or check your coat pockets, and eventually, you find the item. But a brain that is experiencing the early stages of dementia loses that ability to retrace steps. More importantly, the person will begin to place everyday objects in completely bizarre and inappropriate locations. You might find a television remote control inside the refrigerator or a wristwatch placed inside a sugar bowl in the pantry. When the person is asked about it, they have absolutely no memory of putting it there and might even accuse someone else of moving their things. This happens because the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for forming new memories and understanding spatial environments, is one of the very first areas to be damaged by Alzheimer's disease. If you or a loved one are constantly finding objects in places they absolutely do not belong, this is a profound sign that the brain's filing system is breaking down. The second early warning sign is a sudden difficulty in completing familiar, everyday tasks. I am not talking about struggling to learn how to use a brand new smartphone or figuring out a complicated new computer program. I am talking about routines that the person has done hundreds or even thousands of times throughout their life. A classic example is a family recipe. A person who has successfully baked the exact same cake for 20 years might suddenly find themselves completely unable to remember the ingredients or the steps. They might get halfway through cooking a meal and forget what they are doing entirely. Another common example is getting lost while driving a highly familiar route, like the drive to the local grocery store or a close friend's house. The brain relies on deep, ingrained neural pathways to perform these routine tasks automatically. When toxic proteins begin to build up in the brain and destroy these neural connections, those automatic routines are suddenly erased. The person is left feeling incredibly confused and frustrated by tasks that used to be second nature. Moving on to the third sign, which involves new, significant problems with finding the right words or following a conversation. As we age, it is normal to occasionally have a word stuck on the tip of your tongue. But for someone in the early stages of dementia, language becomes a constant, severe struggle. They might stop right in the middle of a sentence and have absolutely no idea how to continue. They might struggle incredibly hard to find the right word for a common object, calling a wristwatch a hand clock or calling a bed a sleep furniture. This happens because the disease is actively attacking the language centers of the brain, usually located in the left hemisphere. Furthermore, keeping track of a fast-moving conversation becomes exhausting for them. If a group of people is talking, the person might completely lose the thread of the discussion and begin repeating the exact same stories or asking the exact same questions over and over again, completely unaware that they just asked the same thing 5 minutes ago. If you notice a sudden, stark change in how a loved one communicates, their brain is showing signs of distress. The fourth warning sign is a loss of understanding regarding time and place. A healthy adult always has a general anchor to reality. You know what day of the week it is, you know what season it is, and you know where you are at any given moment. People experiencing early cognitive decline begin to lose these anchors. They might completely lose track of the passage of time. For example, they might think it is a Tuesday when it is actually a Saturday, or they might not realize that a whole month has passed. Even more concerning, they can sometimes forget exactly where they are or how they got there. They could be standing in their own living room and suddenly feel completely disoriented, feeling like they are in a strange house. This is deeply terrifying for the person experiencing it. This severe disorientation occurs because the brain is losing its ability to process present events and link them to past memories. The brain is essentially living in the moment without any context of the past or the future. The fifth early warning sign is poor or significantly decreased judgment. We all make bad decisions sometimes, but dementia profoundly alters a person's ability to evaluate situations and make safe, logical choices. One of the most common ways this manifests early on is with finances. A person who has been highly responsible with money their entire life might suddenly start giving away large amounts of cash to telemarketers or falling for obvious internet scams. They lose the critical thinking skills required to identify a risk. You might also notice a sharp decline in their personal grooming and hygiene. They might wear heavy winter coats in the middle of a hot summer day or forget to bathe for a week simply because the brain is no longer recognizing these social and physical norms. The frontal lobe of the brain is responsible for executive functions like reasoning, judgment, and social behavior. When dementia begins to erode the frontal lobe, the filter that guides logical, safe behavior completely disappears. The sixth warning sign is experiencing sudden and severe changes in mood and personality. A person who has always been incredibly easygoing and cheerful might suddenly become highly suspicious, depressed, fearful, or extremely anxious. They might easily become upset at home, with friends, or in places where they are out of their comfort zone. This is not just a case of waking up on the wrong side of the bed. As the brain cells responsible for regulating emotions are damaged, the person loses control over their feelings. Furthermore, they are often on some level aware that they are losing their memory and their abilities, which causes massive internal anxiety and depression. If a loved one is suddenly accusing family members of stealing from them or believing that someone is out to get them without any logical evidence, this paranoia is a direct result of the brain trying to make sense of a reality it can no longer fully process. The seventh and final early warning sign is a complete withdrawal from work, hobbies, and social activities. A person experiencing the early stages of cognitive decline might start to remove themselves from hobbies they used to absolutely love. They might stop following their favorite sports team, completely abandon a woodworking project, or refuse to go to a weekly social club they have attended for years. This withdrawal happens because keeping up with these activities requires massive cognitive effort. Holding a conversation, remembering the rules of a game, or simply being in a loud, busy environment becomes completely overwhelming and exhausting for a damaged brain. Instead of facing the embarrassment of not remembering how to do something or not being able to follow a conversation, they choose to isolate themselves. If a highly social and active person suddenly wants to just sit in front of the television all day and refuses to engage with the world, it is a massive warning sign of cognitive decline. Now that you know the 7 early warning signs, we must discuss the hidden daily habits that actively damage your brain and accelerate this cognitive decline. The absolute biggest threat to your brain health right now is chronic sleep deprivation. When you go to sleep, your brain does not just shut down, it actually goes into an active cleaning mode. During deep sleep, your brain cells literally shrink slightly, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to wash rapidly through the brain, flushing out the toxic proteins that build up during the day. One of these toxins is amyloid beta, which is the exact protein that clumps together to form the plaques found in the brains of patients with memory loss. If you are consistently getting less than 7 hours of sleep, you are never allowing your brain to fully clean itself. Over decades, those toxic proteins accumulate and eventually destroy the surrounding brain cells. Another massive factor is the food you eat every single day. The standard modern diet is loaded with refined sugars and highly processed trans fats. When you eat large amounts of sugar, it causes massive inflammation throughout your entire body, including your brain. Chronic inflammation is like a slow-burning fire that damages your delicate blood vessels and prevents vital oxygen from reaching your brain cells. Furthermore, highly processed seed oils and trans fats found in fast food and packaged snacks actually become incorporated into the cell membranes of your brain. Instead of your brain cells being flexible and communicative, they become stiff and rigid, making it incredibly difficult for them to send signals to one another. The incredible news is that you have the power to protect your brain and actively build new neural connections, and it starts with the foods you choose to eat. The absolute best superfood for your brain is wild-caught fatty fish, such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel. Your brain is made up of nearly 60% fat, and a massive portion of that is omega-3 fatty acids. When you eat foods rich in omega-3s, you are literally giving your body the exact building blocks it needs to repair damaged brain cells and create new neural pathways. If you do not eat fish, walnuts and chia seeds are excellent alternatives to protect your cognitive health. In addition to healthy fats, you must flood your body with antioxidants. Think of antioxidants as the rust protector for your brain. The single best source of brain-protecting antioxidants is blueberries. Blueberries contain powerful compounds called anthocyanins, which have been proven in numerous studies to cross the blood-brain barrier directly. Once inside the brain, they seek out and neutralize the free radicals that cause cellular aging and memory loss. Incorporating a handful of blueberries and a large serving of dark leafy green vegetables like spinach or kale into your daily diet provides your brain with a massive shield against cognitive decline. Finally, you must keep your brain active and challenged. The brain is like a muscle, and if you do not use it, you will lose it. Doing the exact same routine every single day allows your brain to go on autopilot. To build new connections, you have to force your brain to learn new things. This could be learning a new language, picking up a complex new instrument, or simply taking a completely different route when you walk around your neighborhood. Your brain is the most complex and beautiful organ in your body, and it deserves to be protected. By recognizing these early warning signs, prioritizing your sleep, and feeding your body the right nutrients, you can protect your memories and maintain your independence for decades to come. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please share this crucial information with the people you love. Take excellent care of your amazing brain, and I will see you in the next video.